I've been meaning to give Powercore a shakedown for a while now. Trick is, I can never decide on which to go with. Just that it should be one of the 5-packs. So let's see who we have. Nothing special. Overrated. Not even touching that. No. Okay, this could work. If only it looked a little more familiar. Hello? In Japan, Takara released Powercore as United EX, with the 5-packs getting unified color schemes and obscure character backgrounds. So we're reviewing Buildmaster, inspired by the Lost Constructicon Gravedigger. No, not the monster truck. Go look it up. As you can see, he's a bulldozer, and a very hefty one at that. From the size of the blade compared to the cab, you can tell it's made to move some massive mounds of dirt. You get a sense of scale from the small details, like the ladders on the side of the cab. This guy is huge. Deco-wise, he's not that different from Steamhammer, the biggest change being the purple blade that makes him a much closer match to his Constructicon brethren. He does have some more noticeable paint apps though, like the side windows of the cab and the edge of the blade. In the rear we have a set of rippers and some blue blocks sticking out from the treads. This is the part of the deco I'm surprised Takara kept, as they're kind of an eyesore since they don't blend in at all. Overall though, as vehicles go, it looks nice, if a bit uneventful. So if you want some added firepower, he does have a Minicon port on his roof, if you can find one that doesn't look silly there. Pro tip, you won't. Transforming's pretty basic here, nothing too complicated or too simple. This is about where I like my conversions. It's tricky to accomplish that when they have to turn him into a torso as well, so this actually does impress me. In robot mode, Buildmaster stands under 4 inches tall, making him one of the shortest Powercore commanders. Starting to get an RID Wedge vibe from him. The deco doesn't have any surprises outside of some metallic purple on his chest, though I do like the head. It has a very mean look to it with the small red eyes. Also really like how the rippers have become hand weapons. They look really good there. For articulation, he gets neck rotation, ball-jointed shoulders, bicep rotation, and 90-degree elbows. Below the waist, his hips are ball-jointed, he gets rotation above and below the knees, and said knees bend 90 degrees. For such a small guy, he's no slouch in articulation. And now we get to the obvious point. He's got an enormous backpack. The vehicle mode blade you can't do anything with, not a shock. It's the bits of tread hanging off that are distracting. They're molded to look like some kind of tool, I guess, but they just float there. They can hinge back if they get in the way, so there's other places for them to hang if you prefer. Still wish they had done better with this one though. Luckily his feet have those big Powercore pegs on them to counter the back weight. Overall, he's a goofy little robot, and his kibble is a major issue, but I can't deny there is a weird charm to him. Next we have the drone units. There's a lot to get through on these toys. First is Decimator, an auger. Very traditional look for a Constructicon, and I like the drill. It can hinge back to be used as a forward weapon as well. Next is Dominator, a front-end loader. This one's a little stranger, but I like how it's done with the conveyor belt going all the way to the back. The bucket arm hinges as well. Next is Eradicator, a plow. Names seem pretty overblown for some of these. This one I'm not sure technically counts as construction equipment, but I guess it could be? I don't know. It looks alright. And finally, Annihilator, a road roller. Always wanted a Transformers steamroller, but this is as good as we'll get, I guess. The huge drum does rotate, so if you have any tiny Transformers, he can crush them. I do like how all the drones use vehicles that fit in with the traditional Constructicons without interfering with them, and how they all have names invoking Devastator. In a sense, I feel Takara better accomplished the goal Hasbro had of making these sets sub-teams of the traditional combiner squads. And speaking of, it's time to combine. Again, it's not a chore getting Buildmaster transformed, this time into his torso mode. He's pretty effectively designed that way. All the drones automorph into their limb mode when plugged into the blue pegs, which is the whole gimmick of Powercore. For Buildmaster, they work well enough, though it takes some manual transforming as well to get it right. In particular, watch out for the plow. There's a tab that has to end up in the right slot on the foot in order for the Gestalt to stand properly. Since this is United EX, this is Buildmaster in Prime mode. Here's where you can see the advantage of Takara's take on Powercore. The unified colors really bring these together and help the aesthetics greatly. First off, the head, which features a very Prime Soundwave-esque full face visor. I like it here, helps give some menace to his combined form. Also like some touches here, the blade being the chest for instance is a perfect use of it, and it's given a lot more paint than its American counterpart. Deco-wise, that's about it, everything else is as it was in vehicle mode. No, aesthetically what always gets me on Powercore molds are the arms. Because of the unfolding parts, they always tend to look very broken up, like it's the bare skeleton of a robot with his armor missing. The same is true here. The matching colors only help that so much. What does let these stand out are the hinged thumbs, which help his hands look much better and, well, actually look like real hands. Believe it or not, that is a plus on one of these. You also get a fold-out minicon port, presumably to attach any of the Powercore minicons in armor mode, because, again, this could potentially look very silly. For articulation, you get the usuals. The head rotates a little bit, the shoulders and hips are universal, and the knees bend. Pretty standard fare, and it shows another drawback to the automorph. Buildmaster could have really benefited from some elbow joints, which aren't possible with this design. I still would have preferred the limbs to manually transform to allow that, but they wanted an action feature for kids, so just roll with it, I guess. Speaking of, since this is Powercore, all the drones from others can be swapped in and out, though this does go back to the disorganized color scheme that gives United EX such advantage. On the other hand, EX drones give that advantage to anything they're combined with, too, which helps make some more dynamic color schemes for the Gestalts, so I guess it's a two-way street thing. Generally, I'm not a fan of Powercore. I feel like the gimmick hampers it too much. But of the series, the Constructicons are my favorite, and giving them the classic color scheme improves them dramatically. If you've been curious and want to give Powercore or United EX a shot, this is the one to grab. As for my thoughts on the rest of the line, oh, don't worry. We'll get to that.